Like I said, I'm Esther Mujuka. I'm an economist working for ICIPE, and my key role in the project was to estimate the profitability and the return on investment in investing in the net house for the production of French bean, tomatoes, and cabbages. And to this end, we sought to get baseline data from our farmers. We had a sample of 50 farmers. 30 were in the project, 20 were the control, and we sought to find the cost of their production, the challenges, and the yield they got from the last season of these crops. And after implementing the technology, we are now collecting data on their input and their harvest. And preliminary results reveal that tomato could be the most profitable, with a net profit of around 12 US dollars per meter squared. And this is 7 times what they normally get from the plastic greenhouses. This is followed by French bean with a net profit of 1.5 US dollars per meter squared. And we're working on the cabbage results, and we should reveal this as soon as we get more data. Thank you.
Okay, my name is Marco. As I say, I joined recently the project. I work for a company called Microfinanza. We work in the microfinance sector, but we are not a bank, so we don't issue loans or not collect savings, but we try to analyze the investments and the economic that can be behind the activities. So I will rely very much on the information coming from Esther to understand when people use a net house, actually what is going to be the revenue, under which condition does the revenue, what are also the costs that the people have to make this net house, in order to understand if a person uses, how much time he needs to pay back the investment, and also maybe discussing with the people, understanding what is the best way for each person to get the money, whether it is with its savings, or if chamas and groups can help on this kind of style, if loans can be an option. So this is one of the discussion. With this, I'm also working with some other people, working with AgroZed, which is one of the producers, in order to let them also understand this information and together try to see what can be an interesting, let's say, product for a person that needs the net house, which size of a net house, which kind of structure, if other services are interesting. So trying to understand what would be really the good thing for someone who is producing to be able to provide. This is one aspect, of course. And also understand what price is some kind of affordable, as is relevant with the revenue that you get. And finally, of course, as we are seeing the possibility, if there's any financial institution to be involved, try to show this information, so how good data are the best, so let them understand what's the profitability. So if a financial institution can provide loans, that they are loans at, with the repayment and interest rate and whatever that are within the possibilities.
I'd like to find out whether there are any cost reductions that you've experienced with your use of the net house and which you can attribute to your use of the net.
Yeah, I think one, I've already commented that the watering rate inside is less compared to the watering rate outside.
So you're saving on irrigation?
I'm saving on irrigation,
okay,
because we pump the water to we are using drip. So I'm skipping in the inside. I'm opening, allowing water to the house, to the greenhouse about 3 times. But outside, it's like I skip about 7 days. I skip about only 2 days.
Okay.
And the crops are doing well inside compared to the ones outside. Yeah.
If you have the drip irrigation,
yeah,
or
drip irrigation.
Inside or outside?
Inside. Yeah, so that I may compare.
That's interesting.
Okay. Any other cost reductions?
Okay, also I can comment on Rongo's side. Of course, I don't want to repeat what Michael has said, because also as we've observed the same thing that you're observing in Machakos. And to add into that, also as far as adding the nutrients to the crop is concerned, we've seen there is a huge change. Okay, in Rongo, we don't encourage farmers to use synthetic fertilizer. They use the organic fertilizer, that is the farmyard manure. So you find that the crops that the control now that we've planted outside, okay, normally when it rains, there is that intensity of rainfall. It hits the ground hard. So there is kind of splash erosion. Yeah. So you'll find that but just by observation, you'll see that the crops that we've planted inside the shade net are healthy, and the soil still contain that nutrients, the farmyard manure.
It's still intact.
Yeah, it's still intact, just by observation. Simply because inside the shade net, that intensity is lower. Okay, the rain can penetrate, yes, but after that impact has landed on the net. So in the long run, you find that we will use more fertilizer, more manure outside than inside. Yeah. So for that, it's actually cost reduction. So in the long run, it will be expensive growing outside than inside. So somebody who has a shade net will spend less here in terms of expenditures. And also by observation, the health of the crop inside the shade net is far much better than outside, just by observation. In terms of growth rate, in terms of foliage, you'll see that the ones inside the shade net are lush. They have a lot of
more vigor.
Yeah, they are more vigor, and also the height, just by observation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you think you could get more money from producing inside the net house as compared with the situation without a net?
Come on.
Do you think you could get more money from producing inside the net house as compared with the situation without it?
According to me, yes, because I've experienced that. About 4, is it 4?
2013?
About 5 years.
About 4 years ago.
4 years ago. Initially I was using the greenhouse.
Plastic greenhouse.
Plastic greenhouse.
Okay.
There are challenges in plastic greenhouse because we don't have that technology here to control the heat and whatever.
Yeah.
Even if you put the net to bring in air and remove the hot air inside.
Yeah.
Instead, it encourages a lot of pathogens which affect the plants.
Yeah.
When I initially put up that the net house, which is 30 by 8 meters. In fact, the first crop, that was the tomatoes, I managed to net 167,000 for a period of 6 months.
Yeah.
So that enabled
shillings.
Yeah. That enabled me to put other 2 extra net houses.
Okay.
So it is more profitable using the net shade than the open field and the plastic greenhouse.
Can I ask one question? Did you buy yourself the other greenhouses, the net houses that you have?
Yeah, I bought.
Okay.
I bought.
Yeah. Can you maybe tell us how much was the price? Or just to understand how much time did you need to pay back the net? Did you pay with 1 crop, with 1 harvest, with 2 harvests?
It is 1 crop.
So
that's why I say.
So after 1 harvest, you were paying back the net house that you were.
Cost, yeah.
Yeah. And then that enabled me to put 2 extra.
2 more.
Yeah.
But you built yourself the net house.
Yeah.
You build it by yourself.
By myself.
In a wood structure.
Yeah.
So you okay.
So that means you just pay for the material of the net and the wood, and you build himself. So you did the labor, and so the cost. Finally, the cost of the net house is not so much.
Yeah.
So what would you say about the quality of the produce inside the net house?
There is no comparison. The produce in the net house and the produce in the open field, there is no comparison. The quality is quite high.
Okay, in terms of
You see texture and the taste.
okay. Sylvia, I'm aware you've harvested. What would you say about quality?
For me, I think I'm quite happy about the quality of my tomatoes I'm getting.
Yeah.
I agree with him about the taste. In fact, I was even, telling Dr. Tibu yesterday that they're very tasty, the tomatoes. They're quite tasty, and then they're big and they're attractive.
Okay.
I'm not struggling to sell them. Yeah, in terms of getting them out to the market, I either take them to restaurants, people are coming to buy, I keep getting calls, want your tomatoes. So I don't think it's been a struggle for me in that way.
Okay. Do you think you can get more money from better quality?
Yes. Yes.
So,
again, you see, when people, the consumers, are sensitized, the quality of produce from the net house, in fact, they prefer this one because you don't apply a lot of chemical, call it pesticides.
Synthetic pesticides, okay.
Compared with the green, the polythene greenhouse or the open field.
Yeah.
It's quite different.
Okay.
And again, if I may deviate from what we are talking about, I think we, as a group leaders, we should look for ways of adding value to whatever we produce.
Okay. Because you expect more produce.
Yeah. Like yesterday, I experimented, I just bought some tomatoes, then I decided I will try and see how I can make tomato paste.
Yeah.
Tomato paste.
Yes.
Because I'm having a small kiosk hotel down there at Kiserian. We normally buy this thing, the tomato paste. Very expensive. But when you buy tomatoes worth 100, it's more or less equivalent to the tomatoes, the candy tomatoes you are buying at 320 shillings.
Okay.
So when you add value, obviously, you can even penetrate these big hotels. And then you sell that at a good profit.
Esther, on the same note,
Yes.
I think I'm finding another challenge outside. Now there is no green thing around.
Yeah.
So the birds are eating birds from around.
Yeah.
They are eating the leaves from the French beans planted outside.
Okay.
So I think yesterday I was trying to make a scarecrow so that it will make some noise. But yet they are eating.
Okay.
So if you look inside, then the birds cannot come inside. So I can, if I look at it now, I can see a big difference. And if I had planted tomatoes, then I think now they will also be pierced by that.
Yeah.
By the side, I don't know whether here, I don't see them big. Are they not affected? Birds there, or birds in Machakos are more grey.
You might actually be hungrier.
What there
But
is,
then what we do,
well, you see, if you look around this place, there are not a lot of trees.
trees.
Now in the Machakos, And in my area, there are a lot of trees. And obviously, they make their houses in the trees. Then, if they make their houses in the trees, and then maybe you are alone doing that farming because of the drought, obviously they'll attack your produce. Because, you see, there are menace. I can remember 10 years, no, 15, I think 15 years ago, I planted some tomatoes and passion fruits. You see, these parts, they usually wait when the plant is flowering. They go and spoil everything. I decided to poison them. Unfortunately, I poisoned the wrong birds which were attacking my crops. So it is something, it's a very big challenge, but now, because we have got the solution, the net housing can, I think, solve that.
So I was saying, if you visit, you will find half of the whatever I planted outside has been, the leaves have been cleared.
Okay.
Half of whatever is planted outside. But when you go inside, you know, then they are very safe.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's another challenge I'm facing, and I'm seeing an advantage of using the net house.
Okay.
Yeah, in addition to that, I think also I've got the same problem and it started this week. So many birds are coming to the outside for crop and eating the right tomatoes. Also, I don't know whether this has happened to anywhere else where we have now in the net house we don't have this infection of blight. Blight, I found my trial at Carol. Outside the crop was affected by blight the other week, and then it is aware of that. But inside we don't have. I don't know how the net controls the blight inside. Yeah.
Not always.
Okay.
Okay, if I may add something about the disease. Okay, but when it comes to our area, tomato, we have a serious disease called bacterial wilt. That one affects even inside, because it's a soil-borne disease. So it doesn't care whether it is inside the shade net or it's outside. But again, on quality, I can see the shade net really controls, especially in our region. We normally experience some hailstones. Yeah, so when you grow crops inside the shade net, it is not affected because of the net. So definitely, if it rains, the quality will be compromised when it's grown outside. Like for example, cabbages. If it's almost ready, then hailstones comes. The quality will be compromised. Yeah, it will become low. And when you go and sell it, the price will also be low. So on that line, obviously shade net will boost now your prices. Yeah, it will lead to higher
If
prices.
I understand,
Excuse me, just stop. Please, Marco, don't make noise with your paper book. Thank you.
not easy.
In this,
Yeah, you hear it in the microphone very well. It seems that it's not noisy, but it's very noisy. Thank you. Okay, sorry, ask your question, please.
This was, as I understand, with the quality that you are getting the net house, you are getting a better price. So for the same kilo, the price of the one inside the net is like better than outside the net. Is it true?
Yeah, it's true.
But can you maybe make an example?
Okay, the price would be better because of the quality.
Yeah.
You know, that's the standard point. You know, when you have better quality, then you're able to have a better bargaining power.
Yeah. But just to understand how much prices can change.
How much different, yeah? Okay, maybe I can give an example. You know, you can have people coming here and they would want to buy, you know, like the tomatoes at a farm gate price. Maybe they would buy it for maybe 40 shillings a kilo. But, you know, if I'm able to get it a bit further, maybe to the market, or where people appreciate the quality, I'd be able to sell it even for 60 or 70 a kilo. So there's normally, you know, it's almost 50%, you know.
Price differential.
Exactly.
Okay.
as long as you manage to move to a market. But
somewhere out.
Do you need to go to Nairobi, or here in Limuru it is okay already to get a better price?
Sometimes I have to go to Nairobi sometimes, not always. But then I can also get to Limuru, not necessarily in the market, but if I do in a restaurant. Because, you know, they're happy with the tomatoes because they are juicy. Then you don't have to use too many when you're cooking. You know, so maybe the restaurant will give me a better price than the market. Because, you know, the market, the reason why the price will not be as good is because you're selling to someone who's going to resell it. So you see, they want to get the best price, so they can be able to resell and get a good profit.
And have you ever approached zucchini?
We did. We approached zucchini because they were starting an organic corner. But then unfortunately, you know, they had said that we need to, you know, be more farmers. We need to be more for the numbers.
My last question. I know you're part of the pilot project, meaning you had the net for free, but out of your own volition, would you invest in a net house?
Yeah, for me, definitely I would go for that. Okay, simply because when you invest on the net house, you can just have a portion, a very small portion, like those one were 8 by, is it by 8 by 20?
20 by 80, yeah.
8 by 20 meters.
Yeah.
But you can really do a lot there, not worrying about the insect and the diseases that are vector-borne, that are being transmitted by insect. I would really go for that, because if I don't go for that, I'll be forced to do it in the open field. And that one, I won't, I won't harvest as much as I would harvest in terms of both quality and quantity if I do it outside. But if I do it inside the net with a very small, just one shade net, then I'll be like, I'll harvest more than even somebody who has got 1 acre of land.
To understand, in your opinion, how much can be a good price for that? If you have to give a value, what would be your...
Okay, at the optimal price.
A good, something that you say, this is price, I can manage and I will do it.
Okay, around 120,000 shillings.
Around 120?
Yeah, for 8, is it 8 by
20?
Yeah, 20 by 8. Yeah, for 20 by 8.
For a complete package with the drip lines and everything?
No, that one is minus, but plus that, then I would be okay with even 170, plus drip lines and maybe a tank. Yeah.
Okay.
And what about the structure? Like, would it be wooden or steel?
I would prefer steel.
Okay.
Maybe I have a question. Which one would you prefer? A complete set? Or because there's also an option of you buying the net and looking for your own structure to mount on. Would you prefer buying the net alone or having a complete kit?
I would prefer a complete kit with drip lines.
Why is that?
Okay, to make my work easier.
Okay.
And also to save on like water drip. You see, it goes direct to the roots. So it's like you are also saving resources like water and also your time, because you just put it on and it will, during droughts. Yeah.
I was trying to comment. As a group leader, we decided to go on drip, all of us. The 6 of us are on drip, but we are feeling that we'll approach it because we saw that we have a lot of timber, we have a lot of trees around, but we have a challenge of ants. Those ones which are affecting the tree. But we felt that we can improvise. Just about 2 feet, and then up here we can now have the wood. I think when you came, we also noted that in between we have used the wood. It has started being affected, so we are trying to see what we can do. We put down the metal, just pieces. You can have pieces about 2 feet, and then the other part we can use the wood, because wood is not a problem around our place. And we are waiting to call you. We see how much you can buy the net, just the net up there. Because what we are seeing now inside, I think we are very much encouraged. It will save us. If we buy a net less than 50,000, then that structure can come up with 7,000 using the available material. And we see whether we can also improve on our production using the net. Yeah. Although drips were expensive for us, the person who we gave him the tender to put the drips for us was charging us about 10,000 per farmer.
For which?
For that, about 20 by
20 by 8.
Yeah.
That is excluding the tank?
The tank exclude, not inclusive, by the drips themselves. Yeah, and I think we appreciate when you come, the drips save a lot of labor. Yeah, we save a lot of labor, and the crops are doing well.
Okay. And I deliberately left the preliminary results of the return on investment. In the case of tomato, we expect the cost benefit ratio to be 1 to 2 in the case of tomato, and 1 to 1.7 in the case of French bean. And like that, you should be able to recover the cost of the drip lines and any other investment you carry out.
But maybe now, according to us, we failed now because this is initial. But you know, once you put the drips, you are able to keep plugging. So we are sure now this time the profit margin may be low now. But we are very sure because these are we are going to do again. Then the next crop and the other one. This expenditure will not be there. But to start with now, we know that maybe at the moment the first crop may not give us the return everything, or even the profit may be low. But we are sure now the next crop and the other one will be stable.
Okay. Thank you.
If I may add, Mike, if you want to reduce the cost of using that method you are talking about, and then the upper side you use wooden, the cheapest method is to you more or less burn those the poles and the poles and what do you call this? The one it is the pole. And the raft. You see, when you burn them, they cannot be affected by the termites. Because you are going to incur an extra cost of the metal. But when you burn this one,
I will use the same thing, same tree without using the metal.
But actually they they work very well. Even if you smoke them, that's what we are talking of, not burning. We have tried this in some other areas, but still they are affected.
They are affected?
In my area they don't.
Maybe where there are there aren't more ants. When where there are many, they will still affect.
And another thing to understand. So if you think that, as far as I understand, you would like to buy more nets, and if they come at between 120 to 170, according to the services, this might be interesting. How would you go for the money? I think you can save for a couple of harvests and have the money, or maybe you prefer asking a loan somewhere, or maybe asking some friends to help you. What is the way that you will look for the money to make this investment?
Obviously, my farmers wanted all of them to go for tomatoes, because we have planted tomatoes for quite some time. I think bear witness, we visited some farmers who are planting over 2 to 3 acres of tomatoes. So when we were bringing the idea of French beans and cabbages, some of them were feeling, people don't like a change. We are feeling that we can still get money out of this greenhouse. We may plant, maybe the first round we keep that money. We spare some money out of that. And then you can also plant again. You can also save from other sources. Like now, my 5 other farmers, they are feeling that maybe the next time after the harvest, they are going to go for 1 net, another extra net. Then after the harvest, another one. Because we are seeing the returns are going to be good. We have not sold anything, but you know, you can see the way the crop has started.
Just to understand.
It's telling us something.
Does anyone does individually, or they just
We are
in a group?
working individually.
They work in a, so anyone, they are just listening this crop,
I save a bit.
I save a bit,
Yeah.
and I get ready for the next one to buy a net.
We were even to call him and see whether he can loan us. We'll pay in installments. And I'm happy he's here. He's also going to tell me what he can do for us.
Yeah, in addition to that, the first farmer we started in growing tomato, I think the first time he had found us it is a useless job, but finally when we discussed with him last week, he has said that he has actually seen there is something. So he is accepting even to buy another net without any assistance. Yeah, because actually he has harvested several times and still is going on harvesting. Good product. So even the buyers who are coming there, they are leaving whatever is outside to come and buy whatever is inside. So he has got an advantage of making his good market with whatever is inside.
And do the buyers also, apart from choosing what is inside, do you manage to get a better price, or the price is the same but they choose what is inside?
Actually, currently now, they have not been exposed on differences, but this is the time they are seeing what is good and what is bad. So actually, even if you try to purchase for a higher price, they still remain on the same price. So they select whatever is good outside and you can then mix with whatever is inside. Yes, for their betterment.
And also I think from where we come from, considering the three crops, we had tomato, cabbage and French beans. They consider tomato as a high value crop, simply because tomato is consumed universally. It's like something being used on daily basis by so many people. Its market is very easy to get. In fact, you don't even look for a market in most cases. People come and take it from the shade net. But now if you look something like French bean, you find that it's not, especially where we come from, it's not that. So you'll find that many people, when they go for either shade net or greenhouse, they'll always want to grow either tomato. In most cases it's tomato.
Just a question on that. You say, but if everyone grows tomato under the net, is there a market for that? So I mean, how much more tomato you can, you know, now you are 6, but if there are 50 people with the net growing tomato, is there a place, or maybe you think that after you have 2 or 3 times the production, something has to change?
Okay, it will have to change, but what I can say is that that market of tomato is so huge.
Or do you do some timing of planting, so that you don't all flood the market?
Yeah, you don't flood the market.
You do your timing right. Okay, because I think most farmers wait for the rain, and so you could plant when it's not raining.
Yeah, because you can do the irrigation.
It's actually, you know, it all. From my experience, I find it's better to time the crop. You know, like for now, you know, with the project, you know, we all had to plant at different times because of the construction, and that's fine. But I'm saying moving forward, if you're able to time your crop to know, you know, you harvest when people are planting, you'll always make a kill. You'll always make a kill out of it. And something else I wanted to say is on, even if you have 50 people, you know, planting and everyone has tomatoes, then we go back to what our friend from Gong was saying about the value addition. You know, if you're able to, I tried it at home, and I made a little thing for drying my tomatoes. You know, and maybe I can share the technology with our friends from Machakos, where it's very hot. I don't know if it's hot in where. Is the water nice and hot? It's not very hot, but Machakos it would be perfect, because I made my own tomatoes. And Drongo, it's hot, I did tomatoes, and I did them, I sun-dried them, you know the sun-dried tomatoes? And I put them in olive oil and spices. And if you go to the shop, you'll find they're very expensive. And all of them are actually being, you know, they're imported. So imagine if we are able to do something as simple as just drying the tomatoes and adding that value, we get something very good out of it. And that's what I did with my small tomatoes from my greenhouse, because I planted in the greenhouse also.
Yeah.
So now towards the tail end, you know how it is, and they're small, they're not attractive, nobody wants them.
Yeah.
So that's what I did with them.
Okay.
I just dried, and it was very nice, sun-dried tomatoes.
Okay.
Something for us to think about.
Still on fresh beans, I think we are also having a challenge because now mainly the locals may not buy all of it. We are depending on the person that we have entered into contract, that is the fresh produce, and they have they can only come for them if you are producing a particular amount, because they cannot just come for one farmer planting for fresh beans in just a greenhouse of 8 by 8. So we are forced now, we're fighting by it to encourage farmers and others from around, so that we may plant fresh beans, so that now we can also have market for whatever we are producing. So that's a challenge. Like now, I don't know who said that there was one farmer planting fresh beans. Is it you? I don't know how you are making for that, because even us, is it you who said there is a farmer from where planting fresh beans? Just one. They are coming for them.
They have already done it.
They have already done it. Those, the ones who have entered into contract with, they are saying they cannot come for just one or four, even for the 4 of us. So we had now to even ourselves plant yours outside. We are planting a lot outside and encourage other people from around, so that we will beat that challenge. Because bringing the French beans to Nairobi and all that, then the economics of scale, you can see now you lose. You spend a lot of money, you have used your cow, you have used somebody. So, but with the tomatoes, as my friend has also said, tomatoes are market. Whether you are producing very little or a lot, people will still come for them.
Another question, that if you manage to time the crop, again, apart of having a market because the other don't have the tomatoes, do you get better prices than can you give me again an example?
Like, let me give an example of last year when we had our tomatoes. When last year the market was very flooded, and the rumors were all the tomatoes were coming from where? Was that true? They were coming from where? And at that time the farm gate price was as low as, once it went as low as 20 shillings a kilo. It went down to 20, 25. But when now you time it well, and there are very few players, you'll be able to get it at farm gate price at 50 to 60. It gets to 60. I've never seen it higher than 60, but I'm just talking about my experience.
Alternatively, more to that, it's good when you are growing tomatoes, you don't go just picking any variety to plant inside. To are better you look for hybrid tomato, which you can take longer. Even if the prices become low, you will go harvesting until you meet the higher price for many months.
Okay, maybe looking around from experience, I don't know whether you have an experience of the same experience. I realize that there are a lot of greenhouses which are not functioning. Do you think we are likely to go to that level with the networks?
I don't think so. I don't think, because, as I said earlier, we are just small people. We don't have that technology of regulating the temperature within the polythene greenhouse. But for this one, you don't need anything to regulate, because even yourself, when you enter inside, you feel a different environment. When you are out, it is more or less hotter than you enter, because it's controlled. It regulates itself. So there is no way, I don't think people will go back to polythene greenhouses, because even myself, in my area, there are so many people who have abandoned the plastic.
Yeah, and the other problem, you know, with the net houses, you can grow even during the rainy season or during the dry season.
Yeah.
But for the plastic one, it's only when you can only regulate throughout whether there is rain or not. And there's also, I'm saying also what else I'm saying is about if you don't have aurora to control the temperatures outside, it's a problem because you have a lot of heat inside the plastic greenhouses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, for me, my contribution to that is that for both net house and greenhouse, they require technical know-how. So you'll find that when that technology of greenhouse came, it's like many farmers went to it, and majority of our smallholder farmers don't have that technical know-how. So you find that after going for it, they don't do the good agronomic practices. And if we also let our farmers just do it like that with the shade net, I think also we might be trapped in that. One of the roles that the shade net plays, it is keeping away the insect pest, isn't it? So for example, if the farmer don't have that technical knowledge, you'll find that like even opening that door, there is a way it should be open. If it's good, they should even have something like a double door, and the farmer should understand that. If he doesn't understand that, he will not put into practice that technical know-how. So you'll find that he will just be opening it, and all the pest will be entering. So if it's late like that, and all the pest enters inside there, inside the shade net will even be worse than outside. So I believe that it's all about the technical knowledge. A to Z, you are dealing with these structures. So I believe even if you sell to other people other than people in the project, you should be following up and maybe giving them that technical knowledge. Even us in the project, we should be able to be in touch with farmers, and so that it doesn't go the way it went for greenhouse.
Okay, maybe on the same line. Do you think farmers would be willing to pay for this extra service? Because I believe maybe after selling the net to the farmer and maybe giving the basic information about how to use the net house, you're talking of more technical support. Do you think farmers will be willing to pay for this extra service, or they would want that service for free, or how do you see that?
Yeah, because I was feeling as the seller, maybe you should include that cost while selling the whole structure inside there.
And I think Jeremiah, he implicitly indicated that he'd be willing when he said he's willing to pay for 170.
Yeah.
And there's some difference there, which you could say that's part of the management. Yeah.
And
the
again,
actual clause is less than that.
Actually, I got it from his point, but I wanted to see maybe if any other person has a different view.
Okay.
Yeah.
but obviously, when you want to sell your product, in order for other people to come for that product, you have to assist them in one way or another. It's not like this, the plastic ones. You see people, this Amirani, when they came, they told people that you can make so much from these greenhouses. So very many people went to that project. At the end of it, they lost. And that's why it is not applicable to a small man. Now, like you are supposed to encourage and then sensitize the people why we should use the net housing, and then any other extra need that's technical part of it, you examine to the farmers, so that in the future you will get more people to buy your net.
I had to find out, because I think there are so many ghosts. Because nothing is going on there. Then when I tried to find out, I realized that some were given by maybe some organizations free to maybe a particular group of self-help group. And you know, sometimes these free things, they don't Sometimes once you are given something free, you go until now that person goes, you don't own up to the project. But I think now what we have done now in my group, because I know Machako sometimes some parts are very dry, we are trying to involve even the people around to see what is happening. My group leaders are owning it up. Yesterday I was told by one of the members that even the assistant chief and the Nyumba Kumi people came to visit just to find out what is happening. So I think what we need to do is that we need to not to keep it to ourselves. We need to open it up because there are people who can even do better than us.
That's the agenda from us, from our results.
I think we need to share the whole thing. Because our feeling now, we also need to have maybe an open day for the people around. They come and see, because I think the main aim is to have maybe poverty eradication in our villages, and that can be done if we own it ourselves and we open it up to the community. I think that will help them. But if you look at those what we are talking about, there is one who was telling me, can you come and buy it for a kikundi? You know, a kikundi was given a greenhouse, and after those people went, because they were being given the greenhouse, the seeds and everything. So immediately after those people finished whatever they were doing, now those people are not ready to continue with the project. But you know, with us now we are farmers. That's why, as I was telling you when I was choosing the people to do the work, my kikundi has 80 people, 8, and to choose 6. I think it was so hard. I had to do a lot of meetings because I don't want to appear like I chose so and so because we are whatever. So we had to meet, talk. Are you able to do this? Are you? And that's why we put the cost of putting the drip as one of the requirements in our kikundi, because we wanted it not to be an individual issue, but we wanted it to help the kikundi. So if we don't want this one to be like the polythene type, then we need to own it up as a group, and we involve even those people around. Like those who are now to buy the nets, they are not part of the kikundi. But there are others who want to join. They are not part of the 80 people we are talking about. They saw it and they are. So our failure as a kikundi is not your failure. It should be the area, an issue of the community. And I pray that we are going to succeed so that they may buy the idea.
Do you think that the people who had the greenhouse and failed because of the
polythene?
Yeah, the polythene.
Yeah.
Do you think that these people are interested in a net, or they are discouraged and they say, no way, I go on open field because these things don't work?
I think it's a seeing is believing. You know, because it was a bit traumatizing to have invested, because when you think about the 8 by 20 net house, that's maybe cost 120, 130, an 8 by 20 plastic house would be double that amount of money, and you have to put in money for repair and small other different things, and when you get in your diseases in there, I mean, it's difficult to let's be honest. It's hard when someone has put in 300,000 to just tell them, now let's switch to this immediately. And yet they didn't get back what they were promised in the first house. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy just to make them do that automatic switch, but they have to be able to see. So we need more like demos, and just something to tell Jeremiah and his team. You people, you're actually, it's a challenge, but it's an opportunity, because you have an opportunity to now go for the smaller scale farmers who may not be having that money that was being, the people who are willing to pay for the 300,000. Because now you're able to give out the houses at almost half the price. So you have an opportunity to actually go small scale to the people who, and even slightly smaller houses. You'd be surprised.
Provision garden.
Yeah, provision garden. You'd be surprised. not everyone would want this big 8
Yeah.
by 20. You know, like okay, I keep talking about my kitchen garden initiative. I'm sorry, it's in my blood. But you see, the thing is, if you're able to get even people in the estates, you'd be surprised. You know, like where Dr. Tibo stays, your neighbors in Westlands, people who have got little compounds are also willing to take the net because they're not trusting the food they're buying. You know, like on the shelf. So you have a very great opportunity. And something else I wanted to say about the, after sales service. That's what you call it. You know, where you're supporting with advice. I think to begin with, you might have to see how to include it in your cost, as he said. Because if you start giving an extra cost, nobody will ever call you back. They won't call you back.
So anyway,
so it needs to come as a package.
It is come as a package.
Just another thing, and you can now you have a network of farmers who already get experience in managing crops under net house. So you can continue to work with them, and you can give them a discount about the material and all that thing, encouraging themselves to promote the technology and to get the knowledge depending on the area, because you know it's difficult to know the different climate conditions in Kenya. There are so many, but I'm sure that Paul in Rongo, he knows his place, he knows the climate, and he could work with you, because maybe we could manage the size of mesh depending on the weather. Maybe the size we give to you is too small, and the way how managing the crop is maybe not the same that the way used by Sylvia in Imuru. And so maybe for you, you could it would be more interesting to get their feedback and to get their experience, not to have your own trainer, but you can, and it will be interesting for you for many reasons.
Sure. I think on the net house size, we are currently trying to come up with something smaller, like a 5 by 5, 5 by 10. And I think I've got 3 calls from some farmers who would be interested in such small sized net houses. And I think we are going to get in the market with that product. And again, this is a different thing. Do you think that soil testing is important in general crop production, and especially now that you're getting into net house technology, you have already invested quite a lot of money. Do you think soil testing is also something that is necessary?
I think I can comment on that.
Yes.
We had a training with the FPIC training. And my farmers, the 80 farmers went through that training. But we had a challenge on soil testing, because sometimes you take the samples and it takes some time. Another challenge was that when these people came, the people assisting us in planting French beans, they say that we use the DAP. And you know already my farmers had the information that that one is going to increase a lot of acidity. That is the information that we had. So I received a lot of calls that how are we going to use the DAP and the information that we have. And you know now you cannot rule out that you cannot use DAP. It depends on the information that you're talking about. So I was feeling now that idea that we need to know whether we can be assisted to collect the specimen of these farmers. Because now using these fertilizers without getting the information on the pH of the soil, then we are likely to destroy, maybe to destroy the potential. Because we may be using DAP when the soil does not require the DAP. Sometimes we may be using the 2020 when it does not require. So if we can get some assistance on how to do it. Because one farmer bringing the specimen of soil to maybe to carry or where, it is very expensive. But if it is done for a group of farmers, it will be a bit cheaper. So we need that, especially in Machakos. We really need that.
So I think variety is also what depending of the market and the product you want to produce. But you have to use this variety. But please, I can recommend you some of the varieties who are going well on the net house and. So it's the same in the same way, that to reduce the risk. And when you have plants in good health, what you say today, they can support much better the diseases and pests, and that would be in your interest not obliged, but discuss with the farmers, recommending him to manage his soil in a special way and get information about the quality of the soil, because soil is very key point for growing any plant, and the same about the variety in fertilizer.
Yeah,
that's very important.
I have a question, especially for Rongo, because you have a bacterial wilt, a lot of bacterial wilt.
Yeah.
So would you be willing to go for a complete soil test, or just a nutrient test, or maybe a pathogen test, or alkalinity, acidity? Would you want like a full package?
Okay, for Rongo, we would like a complete test, because we really don't. Okay, we really want to go for something that will give us the returns that we want. So we would prefer a complete test.
But I feel the limiting factor would be the cost. How do the costs vary? The complete and the nutrient?
Yeah, of course they vary because you're testing different things. But then, according to me, it's good if you go for a complete test. Because is concerned more about the nutrients. But what about if you have pathogens in the soil?
Yeah.
Because that will also be something.
And it's true, because you mentioned you have bacterial wilt. Maybe you did a test.
Yeah, maybe. For example, how much would you pay for a complete test? How much? What is the price that you say? Okay, this is something.
The problem is the time. I agree with a friend from Machakos. It's the timing. If you take them to, is it Curry? It takes a month. But then there's a place in Westlands which will take about 4 days, but you need to pay a premium. Because the difference would be, in curry maybe it's 1,000, 2,000. Yeah, or 2,000. But in crop nuts, it's called crop nuts.
Yeah.
Crop nuts, it would cost you anything from 7,000 is the minimum you need. But it's difficult to get a local farmer to give you 7,000 euros.
The 7,000, it's actually 7,200 will be for complete analysis. But if you want just to know the nutrients, or even to test your irrigation water, what it contains, that will be a little bit low.
But again, that's what Paul said. It's your interest to include it in the package.
Should be
you reduce the risk of the farmers doing bad things and lose its crops. And what you say, when you lose your crop, you invest so much money, and you lose all your production. You are not going to invest again. And
just to come back to another issue, you were saying that the good way to buy a new net house is to save after a tomato season and then buy a net house with that amount. But you also said we would like to say what comes with loans. I mean, what kind of a loan would be interesting? Like how many months? How would you pay for interest? What's it? What are you looking into?
Mainly, if we go to loans, sometimes we take a loan for 3 years payments, or even for 1 year, depending on the amount of loan that you have got. Yeah, but when I assess that the 6 farmers of us, it's only one who said has gone for a loan. Yeah, but the majority of us were trying to save from other sources to see. But if they can be given a loan, I know many of the farmers can be able to pay if it's given maybe the amount to be paid every month. Yeah, I know some can be willing to go for a loan, credit loan.
Just okay, so if it is every month, it's not interesting.
But just before,
for example,
before I forget, I think there's something that you had said when they were talking. I don't want to forget. You are talking of going for a small net house. Yeah. I think I've also requests from some farmers. There are some who don't want to plant tomatoes, others don't want to plant French beans, but they want to go to nursery management. They sell the seedlings. Yeah, that's why when we talked about that, they said they want to go to that. Because there are people who don't want to manage the nursery, but that farmer want to go straight to nursery management. They requires maybe maybe plant tomatoes, nurseries, and then sell to the.
Let's just make an example. Maybe if you're given a loan, Imagine that you're given a loan, and then you have like 3 or 4 months period when you don't pay, and after the first crop, at the first harvest, you start paying. If you have this kind of a loan, then how much time would you need to pay back?
You're talking of the amount. The
Yeah,
amount.
I mean,
Any amount.
okay, you say the problem with the loan is that you have to pay every month.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you have a loan, otherwise, would you like to pay maybe everything after 6 months, or maybe start paying after 4 months and then for like another 6 or 7 months you pay every month, but you have the first 3 or 4 months that you don't pay anything?
Okay.
What can be interesting?
I think what can be maybe applicable to the farmers I manage. It's like if you can be given a period, or you are given a loan and you are allowed to produce, you start selling.
Yeah.
Then after you start selling, then you can start paying. I think that will help them so much. But you see, once you get a loan from the bank or you get from any credit facility, immediately after 1 month, 30 days.
So there's nobody who already does that. There is not financial institutions that does that.
They don't do that.
Like even Juhudi Kilimo, they are called Kilimo, but they don't do that.
They don't do
Kilimo what? Juhudi Biashara, sia Juhudi Kilimo. So they don't do that.
They don't do that.
And another question: if you have this kind of an arrangement that you can pay after 3 months, you can start paying. Just think, what do you prefer? Just have 6 months and pay everything, or maybe you prefer 3-4 months and then pay every month for a while?
Paying in bits, I think that would be more applicable.
So pay
Bit by bit.
Bit by bit, yeah.
Okay.
And you are given maybe a grace period of about 4 months when you start harvesting whatever you planted.
Yeah.
And then you pay in bits.
In the case, do you think that the people would give an upfront payment, like maybe give 20% or 30% of the value at the beginning, then you have the grace period and you start paying? This is interesting. Like, let's say, example, the net house is 150,000. Okay, so you ask for a loan, and they say okay, you start paying after 4 months because you need 3 months to grow tomatoes. So after 4 months you start paying, but the loan is not 150,000. The loan is for 120,000. You pay 30,000, and then the other 120 you pay with the loan. Is this interesting, or people want all the amount? Otherwise, it's not interesting. Do you get me?
Like I have not got you.
Like, I mean, if you
a loan is
maybe the loan is 120,000.
Yeah, 120,000.
You mean the net is 150,000. Then you go for a loan. You have one option that you ask 150,000 to the bank. Okay, you give for the net, and after 4 months you start paying. An option would be that the loan is the net is 150,000. To buy the net, you take 30,000 from your pocket and you ask for 120. You get the net. After 4 months, you start paying back the 120. Is this interesting?
I think it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
In your opinion, a good amount at the beginning, how much can be? You would say like 20%, 30%, half of the price. What do you think people may be interested in? You also, I'm not talking also to him. Like for you, what do you think? What people would like? Maybe pay half at the beginning, half with the loan, or just pay 20% at the beginning and 8% with the loan? What do you think it is interesting?
Okay, like if I comment on the point that you said earlier about paying something small, let's say like 30,000, then maybe a grace period, then you start paying. I think that one is better than not paying anything at all. Then you will start to pay maybe after 6 months. Simply because if you pay something at the beginning, even if it's 30,000, there will be that attachment, like he said.
Yeah, that's why I'm discussing.
Yeah. So there will be that attachment to that. that there will be that ownership.
Yeah.
So I would go for that. The one that at least
you also pay less interest. And do you know, for example, how much is the interest rate?
The interest rate.
Do you have an idea?
The lower is the better.
No, an idea of how much it is now. Do you know?
In bank or microfinance institutions?
Well, microfinance. You don't know?
The bank
It varies
bank came
from
down
yeah.
to 14.
Yeah, to around
The balance is around.
Bank came down to 14. I don't know if microfinance has reduced now, because you know they would have been forced by the market to reduce.
Yeah, to reduce.
Because they would have
I'm
been
not
too
sure, but I
expensive.
think it's about 11.
11.
11.
Microfinance.
Is this per annum, per year?
Yeah.
Okay, per year, okay.
But in a bank, do you pay only the interest, or you have also a payment at the beginning, like administration fees?
Yeah, because at the bank, what they do before the let's say you've taken a loan of 150,000, they normally calculate and deduct. They call it less. I don't know, loan application charge. In short, they call it less.
Okay.
So if they're supposed to give you 150,000, they calculate that percentage. Normally it's, I don't think, 5%. So they deduct. So they will not give you 150. They'll give you less with 5%.
And do the microfinance make the same?
I think so.
If they do the same. But I'm not very sure.
Because you know, they tell you it's 14%, but it's 19%.
Yeah.
It's loan processing.
Yeah. But they respect the law.
There's a lot hidden.
Yeah.
The other charges that
No, but just to understand, because no, it depends. Just to understand, but if someone goes to like 16, 17, 20%, but with the grace period, is this interesting for the people?
It's a bit high.
16 is
to be honest, farming is very unpredictable. And because of its unpredictability, not many people are willing to even give farmers a loan.
Yeah.
Let's start from there.
Sure, I know.
So, I mean, when you hear, a bit of silences, it means we are also, maybe you've tried, you want to, but no one is willing to even give you the loan. And if they give you again, it's very unpredictable, like, with the drought last year, the rains have failed this year in most parts of the country. So it's hard.
No, but we are talking with the net houses, so you don't have the problem with the rain.
I know, but still, we've seen it better. We've seen better days, to be honest. It's been better. So because of that, it's unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen in September, whether we'll get the short rains as usual or not. So people are still, wondering, because there's so much climate change. I remember, 5-10 years, you would even say the day it will rain. You remember the date in March, you'll be like, it's raining on this day.
This day.
And it would rain in that week, on that day or that week it will rain. Now we can't tell.
That problem of unpredictability, who is the one who doesn't feel well? Is it the microfinance that don't want to issue loan, or is the farmer that doesn't feel safe with the loan? Who is the one?
I think it's the farmer.
The farmer.
But even both. Even microfinance, they're like, money will go.
Generally agriculture is viewed as a risky enterprise.
I know. That's why I'm asking these questions.
I think it's both.
It's both.
Okay. We have to visit your farm. I think it's time for a tea break.
Okay.
We speak a lot. We could continue the discussion together. I think maybe a visitor is coming also for you in a few minutes.